right now there are category page mistakes that you are probably doing that are eating away at your profits bit by bit. And in today's video, we're going to dive into this and see what are typical mistakes that you can fix pretty easily. Because the category pages, or the collections pages as they are known in Shopify, are fairly straightforward. There are universal principles that can be applied to pretty much every store, depending a bit on how many products and what kind of products there are. But generally, those are pretty agreed upon. So they're we have a less of a wiggle room than, say, in the cart page or the product page. So here, it's a very nice page to optimize from that perspective. So let's get started. And by the way, if you don't know yet the channel, I'm Samuel Larsen. I'm the founder of growthgurus.com. We help 6- and 7-figure e-commerce stores get to the next level with conversion and average order value optimization, including category page optimization. So first of all, let's look at this. It's a pretty simple statistic, but 76% of shoppers believe that the most important thing on the website is to make it easy to find what they actually want. And this one is, even on that conscious level, people are aware of that. But think of the scenario where they actually don't find what they want and then they bounce without being really consciously aware of that. So likely this number could even be really higher, because in a shopping store or e-commerce store, you need to be able to find what you want in order to purchase it. So let's dive into this one. First of all, I wanted to make a little distinction here, that there are pages where people land and pages that people flow into. So for example, we have a page where you can start from here, or you can start from the front page and end up here. That's a different experience, and your knowledge of the product will be a little bit different, or knowledge of the brand if you don't start from this page, but you start from another page. For example, the product page or the front page. So that's going to be quite important in terms of how much information we need to include in these pages. So for example, this particular example, here it is in mobile, doesn't give you any information for you to know these products better. It's just it's simply a list of products. I'll show you a couple of more examples. Let's focus more on mobile, because that's the device that really matters for you guys. So here, this is another example of a category landing page. Which air purifier is right for you? So here, you make a choice based on your room size. So you have 700 square feet, this is 1500 square feet, and then they have one that's even bigger than that, more like an industrial one. So this helps you navigate to the one that you want with information. And that's a big difference. Now here, these examples are from stores that don't have that many products. So both have 3 products in this category. So let's look at another example of a famous store here, Zalando. This is looks like it's very different as a page. However, it still achieves the exact same things. So here you have the subcategories for men's clothes, and then you have inspirational searches and these kinds of things. So this enables people to still make a decision. And in this clothing industry example, it's more of a visual decision. So it actually still helps them, even though it doesn't contain a lot of textual information, so to say. So here, it helps you to navigate further, even if you don't have a lot of information beforehand. So that's great from the landing page perspective. If you have people that are flowing to these pages, you might even choose to skip the landing page, because you have a simple selection here anyway. So you might actually force people to just click on one of these pages and save them the click. So this way, it is easier for you to find the product what you're looking for, because you can't just go to this user's page in the middle. So that's in terms of category landing pages. Not always necessary if you only have a couple of products. So use them with caution and knowledge of them being useful. Now, main things here is with the category landing pages, they help filter out products and then find what people are looking for. So it achieves those 2 purposes, even if the implementation is quite different. Now, before we go into the main mistakes that merchants make in optimizing the collection pages, let's first think through this very important pointer. So before you commit your time to the development and optimization of this category landing page, think about whether you would benefit from one. So everything that you do on your site has a cost and has a benefit, so you need to evaluate that. So let's look into more examples and more mistakes. So mistake number one is structuring the category pages for sort of internal purposes instead of a user. So having them structured from the merchant perspective as more of a list of products, that doesn't necessarily help people make a decision. So you can think of the collection page as like a road sign. It should help people navigate, find what they need, and your job is to create the collection pages that match the process that your shoppers use to make decisions. So a lot of stores make this mistake of designing collection pages that serve this like internal way of looking at things. They haven't really thought like how people shop. So for instance, they might create collection pages that group the products by like part numbers or SKUs or these kinds of things, supplier brand, that visitors even don't know like what these mean. So they are completely irrelevant in making a decision or filtering the products, and they don't help the customer at all. So thinking through these cases is usually a good hack to overcome this. So like if you're going to solve the SKU, like you can ask solve that question. What's the purpose of this? And this way you can eliminate a lot of the fluff on the stores. So here, for example, we have women's dresses. And if we look at the way that I can filter here, and this is very, very common, because this is also quite difficult for the merchant to do. But I'd, for example, want a cocktail dress in this kind of case. So something to wear in the evening, not that I would, but like still. Now, there's no use case selection here. And that would be the most relevant filter for this. And here you can refine it. But all we have is price. And then you have a category filter, but this doesn't really help in filtering at all because it looks like it's already selected. And now I just select the same filter that I have. So very, very common mistake and something that should look out for. And that ties well into our next pointer, which is mistake number 2, not having proper filtering and sorting options. So a collection page with a lot of products can be overwhelming, as you just saw from the example. Like you have hundreds of products, and it's very tedious to go over all of those at just like browsing through and seeing where are the cocktail dresses here. So that's something that you would solve with just like good filtering and sorting options. So here, these typically appear in the sidebar on desktop or on the top of the collection page on mobile, just like in this kind of case. Usually it's good to call them filters as people are used to that kind of language. And then you have, ideally, in this kind of case, you would show like how many products fit into this category. So this is non-ideal from that perspective. And you don't know like how many choices there are. And even here on this next one, it doesn't look like it properly shows me the filters that I've selected. And yeah, even the results are a little bit hidden there. But yeah, this is very, very important. Probably one of the more challenging things to get right. Because it also often requires a lot of product tagging and these kinds of things that can be a little bit time consuming and not as fun as all the other things in e-commerce. So this is one where it's a necessary evil to go and just fix this. Most common filters, price. You have the sorting for popularity. So general doesn't really tell anything. You'd be better off just saying like recommended or featured. And then trending is a little bit of the same thing. Like so yeah, that's a little bit niche specific, I think. But yeah, then next is like you'd want to have user ratings and reviews as one of the filters. So if you have a store like this, and if you do have products with reviews in general, you can filter by reviews. You can take a look at Amazon Walmart for this, where that product review filtering is very popular. And then promotion, new arrivals, on sale, featured as one of the filtering options as well. You often have it on the top menu. So there, it also nicely overlaps, but let's say you want to have a woman's dress with a certain characteristic like cocktail, and you want to look at the promotions. So if you have those, you would show that filter, so people can look at that specific product or products. Next we have mistake number 3. This is quite a simple one. It is not having more than 3 levels of hierarchy with your categories. So for example, we have electronics as the first level, TV and video as the second level, and then this is the third level. So if you had one more menu here, you'd have more than 3 levels of hierarchy. And then if that happens, it just gets very confusing, because here you already have at least 4 levels on this one, but then there's like really 3 category levels that you have. So something to watch out for if you have this, because sometimes you see this kind of thing where you have main category, then you have the categories, subcategories, sub-subcategories, and perhaps even further subcategories like departments, home, decor, candles, soy candles type of thing. And it just takes longer for people to find products in deep hierarchies, and it just involves more clicks, page loads, these kinds of things. So that's why it's generally not the best idea to structure the collections like that. All right, then moving on to mistake number 4. So the trending, top rated, and best selling items are not shown on the top category by default. So here this shows the best sellers. There's some more examples here. This shows the outlet. So that's a nice little pick. If you don't know what specifically you want, you have an inspirational category there. Then sale here, we have top 20, so best sellers, promotions here. So that's good implementation. Zalando has the sale. So there's these kinds of things help people go and look around in case they don't feel that they are particularly interested in specifically anything here. So you can convert some of those visitors that are more like browsing and looking around. All right, moving on to mistake number 5. So this is especially relevant for stores that have a product that are visual. So clothing would be a great example here. So here's a non-adherence example. When I hover over these pictures, I do not see an alternative. Same here. So there's nothing that comes from there. However, here I do. So especially in a clothing store, it's way easier to get an idea of this product from the second picture. Now, here, this is not a particularly great example because they have inconsistency with these products, but I think it's also kind of because you have a general category here. But yeah, just providing another picture there helps in understanding the product a lot better. And they don't always seem to do this, but when they do, it's very helpful in getting a picture of that product. Next up, we have mistake number 6. This is where the category page doesn't clearly show which product variants, size and color are available for each specific product. So for example here, you can take a look at this jacket, but to know if it's available on your size, you would have to go to the next page and then like get an idea, oh, it's not available. So that's kind of disappointing and complicated to get an idea there. So instead, this site here, Zalando, shows them on product hover. So you have the different sizes here, makes it so much easier. And like, even if they can't really like show it, it's always like available in several sizes. So that is at least a little bit of a workaround. You also have the different colors here. So say I really like this style, and it's not really like buy this light blue one or don't buy anything. You have several options here shown that you can consider purchasing in order to satisfy your happiness. So that's the mistake number 6, where the category page doesn't clearly show which product variants, size, colors are available for that specific product. All right, moving on to the last one, the mistake number 7. Important information is missing from the category page. So here is an example of how many Shopify store category pages look like. They are just product listings, and here we see that it doesn't really tell anything to the visitor, so it probably makes all the mistakes that we've talked about so far. But here we could just outline that the product title is not prominent. There is the old price and new price, but you can't really read the old price because it's not that visible. It's like overline is going over. It doesn't show how much of a discount it is, which is something that they could consider. There's no review count, no overall star rating. There's nothing about product variants, for example, different colors if they have that, or in different sizes. So it basically does all of these in one page. I'll show you another example here about the category pages. So this one will look like pretty similar on mobile. So they have bundles, but there's no outline here on how the starter bundle differs from family bundle. So you could just add like includes, and then like here it probably includes like some kids protective clothing, and then this includes this other mini house or something, and that would help people get an idea, because you can't just expect people to understand from the pictures. Also here, like what's the differences on these boxes? What are they good for? You could use product batches here to show that information, and these kinds of things. Sold out, when is it going to come back? So pretty important, simple things oftentimes, but definitely category pages can be a little bit of a bottleneck if you haven't gone ahead and made them useful. There's all kinds of mistakes that you can make. Filtering is definitely one of the most important things to get right, and also one of the most challenging ones. So, thank you very much for watching the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will do a whole series on this. There's already cart page, product page done for this series, so you can find them from the channel. Also, I'm bringing up homepage next, as well as a ton of useful material, for example, optimizing your email pop-ups. So, until then, see you in the next videos. Thank you for watching.